to lift up everyone to the next level. So Habitat wants to thank all of our sponsors and all of the partners and individuals who helped make today possible. Presenting sponsor is Hutton, Mod Car Wash and Real Estate Partners. Platinum sponsor, Greater Chattanooga Realtors. Gold sponsor, Smart Bank. Silver sponsors, Steam Logistics, Solid Ground Construction, Erlanger Health System, Double Cola. Bronze sponsors, Raymond James, Mountain View Auto Group, the Tanisha Irvin Team, the University of Tennessee at Chattanooga, Pinnacle Financial Partners. And our in-kind sponsors, Chick-fil-A and Brainerd Village, Custom Works Graphic, Southern Spear Properties, Vincent Group, and Brewer Media. Let's thank our sponsors. We can't do this without sponsors and individual help. So there have been tireless hands that have gone into making this event possible today, and we want to thank the 2022 Women Build Breakfast Committee. So I'm going to ask all the committees to stand so that we can thank you, please. So please stand up to everyone who is on the Women Build Committee 2022. Let's give these ladies a round of applause. Thank you all so much. So I did mention a little bit that this was going to be a party. So I'm going to ask you all to do, before we get started with the party, we're going to properly have Pastor Margaret Poteet call her up to the podium, give an invitation, and then we are going to get this party started.
Thank you so much, and thank you to the Habitat for Humanity leadership for inviting me to do the invocation. My name is Margaret Poteet, and I have the privilege of serving as the associate pastor at Rivermont Presbyterian Church. I'm so glad to be here. Let us pray. O God, who shelters all of your children under your wings, we give you thanks for the opportunity to be a part of providing shelter here and now for those who are in need of it. We pray for all who are longing for a stable, safe, and secure roof over their heads and a brighter future for themselves and their families. Today, we especially pray for Taryn. Thank you for the drive and gifts you have blessed her with. Thank you for this community that has rallied to help her achieve this dream of a home where she can thrive and live into the abundant life you desire for all. Be present with us in the power of your Spirit. May our time together this morning inspire all of us to a meaningful participation in your holy work of building up community. We also thank you for this food that you have provided and pray that you would bless the hands that grew, prepared, and served it. We offer all of our thanks and all of our prayers in humility and gratitude, gracious God. Amen.
And amen. Oh, I felt like a pastor right there. So now for those of you who've been to our breakfasts in the past, we're celebrating the 7th anniversary a little bit different. It's been a hard 2 years for all of us. I hope you would agree with that. And we started a little tradition with a dance last year. And I think that we need to take a minute to celebrate being together in person right now and enjoying each other's company. So I'm going to ask you all to get up out of your seat, and we're going to wait for this music to come on, and we're going to have a little dance party to celebrate us being here. Now, someone's going to have to start it. Thank you, Pastor Poteet, for being one of the first people to stand up, leading the way in this dance party. So let's go ahead and cue the music. We are going to get this party started. There we go. That means y'all got to move, at least rock from side to side. Two-step or something. Wave your hands in the air. We got some survivors in the room. Not gonna give up, not gonna stop. All right, we got a couple dancing and swinging from side to side. There we go. Not a bad way to start a Saturday morning. I see you, Aunt Marvis. I see you, UTC. There we go, waving your hands from side to side. Keep on surviving. That's what I'm talking about. All right. I like it. Okay. Thank y'all so much for joining us in that little bit of dance, that's just a small dance party to get this Saturday morning started. So those of you regulars out there, we've played this trivia the past couple of years, but we're going to change it up again this year. And if you want to know about those Habitat affordable housing and women build facts, I want you all to check out in the back of your program the Did You Know section. It is in the back of your program. And so this year we brought some Chattanooga treasures to the breakfast to share their stories. And today you're going to be hearing from our future homeowner, Taryn. You'll also hear from a Habitat homeowner who was the 9th Women Build homeowner, and her son, Vincent, who is the Dean of Fine Arts at Chattanooga High Center for Creative Arts. You're actually going to hear from Vincent's mom a little later on today around this idea and this concept of framing the future, And we're also going to hear from a keynote speaker, Dr. Edna Varner, who was my 6th grade teacher at the Chattanooga School for the Arts and Sciences. So I want you all to enjoy your breakfast. I hope you enjoyed your breakfast and enjoying your table mates and your neighbors. And we are about to continue this program. Has everyone finished their breakfast? Raise your hand if you need a little bit more time to eat. Okay, everyone's already eaten. So right now, I am actually going to have Jens Christensen to come up to the microphone now. Everyone, let's give it up for the president and CEO for Habitat for Humanity, who was my classmate at the Chattanooga School for the Arts and Sciences. There's a theme here, ladies and gentlemen. There's a theme. Thank you.
All right. She really has a lot of energy, doesn't she? I didn't get that energy. We went to school together, but I didn't get that energy. Thank you all for being here this morning. You're hearing a lot about connections. There are an incredible number of connections that are going to be talked about today. Stacy and I, of course, went to school together. Edna taught at that school. Vincent has a direct connection to Stacy. Tara, the first video, I actually worked with her as her case manager at the community kitchen a long time ago. So there are a lot of connections here in this room, a lot of connections for the work that we're doing and the work that you all are supporting. So again, thank you for being here at the Women Build event in 2022. Women Build is about a lot more than just a house. It's actually a movement about change, equity, justice, and women. Historically, home ownership has seen a gap between female head of households and male head of households. In 1991, only 50% of women owned their own homes. Compare that to about 70% of men in the United States. This movement is actually working. Since that time, the gap has dropped to be only 6 points, with 61% of women owning their own home and 67% of men owning their own home today. The Women Build movement with Habitat for Humanity is about advocacy, it's about policy, and it's about intentionally bridging the divide between men and women in home ownership. Today, we're here to bring women together as volunteers, as funders, as builders to help another woman realize her dream of home ownership, a very deserving woman. Later today, you will learn about Taryn's journey as she partners with us at Habitat in realizing her own dreams. You'll see the impact that you can have through involvement here. You'll hear about the life-changing impact of home ownership from a woman, Vanessa, who moved into her Habitat home 20 years ago. Thank you again for joining us. As you listen, I ask that you do remember this is a fundraiser. Yes, you will be asked to contribute toward the Women Build movement. But most importantly, thanks to Stacy, this is a celebration. It's a party. A celebration of women helping women and the world becoming a better place. I'm now going to be honored to introduce our keynote speaker. I wish Stacy hadn't given it away. I guess it's in the program, so you probably already knew. She's an incredible leader. She's a compassionate soul. She's a woman of great accomplishment. Not only is she an amazing person, but she is also the perfect fit for our theme of framing the future. You see, Stacy, as she mentioned, and I, we go back a few decades to the hallways of Chattanooga School for the Arts and Sciences. We walked across the stage, I think it was at Memorial Auditorium, graduation together. It's hard to remember where it was. It's funny how things happen as you get old. Over the many years since we graduated, I've watched her journey. I've enjoyed watching her growth from those hallways to now the cabinet of the University of Tennessee. Much like our speaker, Stacy has developed into an incredible leader herself. The coolest part of that is, of course, that our speaker is a very important part of Stacy's journey. As her sixth grade teacher and then as a supporter, a partner, and even a coworker, Edna Varner literally helped frame Stacy's future. A future I'm very fortunate to see, and I think one we're all very fortunate to have here in Chattanooga. Not only was Edna a very important part of Stacy's journey, but through Edna's work in education, her leadership in the community, and her incredible nurturing presence, she's framed the future for hundreds of girls and boys, many of whom, like Stacy, have grown into tremendous women and men, leaders and community members. We're here today to learn how you can join Edna and Stacy in framing the future and how Habitat's mission is an important part of the future of girls, women, and everyone in our community. So please join me in a warm welcome for Dr. Edna Varner. There she is.
Okay, Stacy ran up here. Now that she's told you I was her sixth grade teacher, you know why I walked up here. Good morning, everybody. So excited to see you here today. And I have some words for you. You'll like them. Don't take out your cell phone and start checking your messages just yet. But I want to start by giving you a little of my history with Habitat. Many years ago, Dominique said, Edna, I want you to get involved in Habitat. And I said, Dominique, it's me, Edna. I don't do manual labor. I said, the most manual labor I do is lifting my checkbook and my pen. And she said, you're in. So this is a fundraiser, as Yin said. So after that, I think I came to 3 or 4. I may have missed one. And she and Carlene Clarity tag teamed on me and got me here again. And so by that time, I had been giving, and I had built momentum, and I was sort of feeling like the folks out there practicing for Ironman, so I could write a bigger check. I was really good then. I was on a roll. And then Rowena Belcher, we're in Rotary together, said, we're pulling a group together, and we're actually going to help a woman build her house. And I said, okay, I've tried to have this conversation. I don't even paint my own nails, and you're asking me to paint a house. But I'm so glad I decided to show up. And when I got to the home we were going to be helping to build, the first thing I learned was that the homeowner was a former student. And so we had our pictures taken together. I still have the picture. I had a brand new Rotary shirt on, and it has paint on it, which is a badge of honor. When I washed it in cold water so the paint wouldn't come out. So I still have that picture. Had such a wonderful, wonderful experience that I think I've helped build 3 houses now. I think that's accurate. And I pass by them. And when I do, I have to resist the urge to knock on the door and ask if I can just come in and visit with either the wall I helped paint or the baseboard and the nails, because it's that meaningful for me. It really is. And so if this is your first time at a Habitat event, I can assure you we have your name, and it will not be your last time. But that's a little of my history. I am here today to talk about framing the future. And as Stacy has said, Jens has said too, it's not just the future of building houses, because Habitat is about so much more than that. But when I was thinking about what I might say that would keep me on topic, I thought about a picture frame. And I thought about how you love the picture, but most people spend quite a bit of time thinking about the frame, whether it's going to be wood, whether it's going to be metal, maybe something artsy, because the frame sends a message. And so I'm not just going to talk a little about some words of wisdom we can take with us into the future, but I also want to share some things I have learned about helping to frame the future. And I brought a few folks along with me. They're on index cards so that I can remember them. But just some things that have been said for those of us who are going to participate in framing the future, not just being a part of it. Hannah Fry, mathematician, said, "The future just doesn't happen. We are building it, and we are building it all the time." Well, a future will happen, but it won't be the future we want if we are not helping to build it. Now, that seems like a huge task to build the future, especially the future we have in our minds that we want. A future where affordable housing is just something that happens. You don't even have to think about it anymore. A future where there's no poverty. A future where nobody in our community struggles. A future where we don't even notice our differences. I was in an accessibility conference the other day, and one of the participants said, what you notice is not someone's disability, but the possibility. So if we are going to frame that kind of future, we're going to have to be willing to take on something huge. Whoopi Goldberg, of all people, said, "It never occurs to me that I can't do something." Well, I'm going to confess that it does occur to me from time to time that I can't do something by myself, but it has never occurred to me that I can't do something if all of us are working on it, if there's a we instead of just me. And I go back to some military groups. I think it's the Marines slogan. It's also my brother's fraternity slogan. They stole it. But it says, "The difficult we do immediately. The impossible takes us a little longer." And so our greatest aspirations for the work we do in the Habitat space, I hope we're framing it as the difficult we do immediately. The impossible is going to take us a little longer. Now, impossible does take a little longer. And if we are overcome by the enormity of it, some of us may back down. So, in order to keep us focused on it and believing that the impossible we can do, it may take us a little longer, I'm going to share the wisdom of Annie Lennox, made popular by Whitney Houston. This is how we do it when we frame our future and take on those incredible, impossible things that may take us a little longer. We do it step by step, bit by bit. Somebody's mouthing it over here. Go, girlfriend. Stone by stone, brick by brick by brick. That's why I love so much that this is a Habitat breakfast, because the metaphor works for us. We're going to do it step by step, bit by bit, stone by stone, brick by brick. That's how we accomplish the impossible. Now, even with that, there's some other wisdoms I feel important to share. You know, Sheryl Sandberg said this in her book, Lean In. She borrowed it from some others, but we all do that. That's okay. And I shared this in a recent speech at Kiwanis, that the way we approach the impossible is that we have to do something that scares us. We have to be willing to do something that's a little scary. Now, it doesn't mean climbing Mount Everest would be scary. For me, it would be quite an accomplishment. Not impossible, but it won't happen in this lifetime. Anyway, but I would encourage you, if you're going to join us in the work that has to be done, just make a list of the things that scare us, the things that scare you. And how does that list compare with someone who doesn't have a home but has children? And that woman has to think every single day about how she's going to meet the needs of children. That's scary. Let me tell you what's even scarier. To dream that you could own your own home and risk the possibility that it won't happen. That's why some people abort what they want, because they're afraid that if they dream it and it doesn't happen, they're done. So make that list of things that scare you and start tackling that list. That's what I do. That's why I can give a speech up here. I'm terrified. The other thing you have to do, Michelle Obama wrote about it in her book, Becoming. And Dolly Parton, I hope everybody, and I know everybody here knows Dolly Parton. If you don't like Dolly Parton, just get up quietly and leave the room. But Michelle Obama says, we have to start defining ourselves and not let other people define us. So the world will give us terms like, label us poor, and they'll start assigning reasons why we're poor, we're lazy, we don't want to work. The world will assign us labels like homeless. And I tell you, the first time I saw a homeless woman, for some reason, I thought only men were homeless. And then I saw a homeless woman in a park in New York. And that was just a wake-up call. The label was homeless. I'm thinking of in my mind a homeless man, but a woman with children. And so those definitions, those labels we assign, we personally cannot let them define us. And we need to start speaking up when someone casually starts labeling someone else and telling us, don't even know the person, telling us why that person is struggling. because that's a distraction away from the help that we all need to provide for someone who's struggling. So I was mentioning Dolly Parton. Most people know Dolly Parton was born dirt poor. Now she has amassed millions. And if you know anything about Dolly Parton, she spends most of her life giving that money away to worthy causes. And I don't know how she does it, but she has the magic touch. She is just extremely successful. And even as she was amassing this fortune through her business skills, there were people who were still calling her a dumb blonde. And some of you know what I'm about to say. She responded to that. She said, I don't care if people call me a dumb blonde, because I know I'm not dumb, and I know I'm not blonde. I love Dolly for that. So, here we are this morning with an incredible opportunity before us. And we are asking you to go big. Now, you've heard the expression, go big or go home. I'm going to change that a little. This morning, I'm asking you, all of Habitat is asking you, go big so that Taryn can go home. That's what we're going to do today. And I'm going to end these comments. I was supposed to look at Phil and make sure I wasn't going over time. I have no idea where he is. But I'm going to end with a quotation by Mindy Kaling. You may not know her. She's an actress. She's on The Office and The Mindy Project. And what she says is, just your being here this morning, just your willingness to be a part of something as awesome as Habitat, just your understanding of what owning a home means to Tara and Vanessa and Vincent, you're going to hear from, and Taryn, and we're going to go big, Taryn, so you can go home. Just knowing that, give yourself permission today to root for yourself. And while you're doing it, root for the other people in this room. So you know what that is, like root, root, root. So on the count of 3, let's root for ourselves and root for the other people in this room. 1, 2, 3. Root, 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 root. Thank you.
I got a little excited and I almost tripped. I'm okay. For those of you all, if y'all can laugh now, since you know I'm okay. 35 years ago, that was my 6th grade English teacher. 35 years ago. I need y'all to give it up for how good she looked and how good I look too. All right. It's serious. I'm serious. 35 years ago. But 17 years ago, a single mother calls up a new college advisor at the Center for Creative Arts to come and talk about how to get help for her son. It was her dream to ensure that he went to college. She didn't have a lot of money, and that is the day that I met Vanessa and her son, Vincent, at the Center for Creative Arts. So I'm asking all of these questions to this family. And I said, Vincent, what are your grades? What are you interested in? Tell me a little bit more about yourself. And what I remember vividly about that meeting is I looked at her as this 20-something-year-old college counselor at the Center for Creative Arts, and I said, I promise you, Your son is going to go to college, and he is going to go to college debt-free, and I will make sure of that. So for the next 2 years, Vincent was in the 10th grade then. So for the next 2 years, we worked tirelessly together to make sure Vincent found the best fit college that knew what to do with a black boy like him, with all of the talents and skills that he possessed at the Center for Creative Arts. And I was honored and privileged to walk with him through that journey, to walk with his mother through that journey, and very proud to say that Vincent went to college 2 years later on a full scholarship at Stillman College. And he may not, I think he'll remember this, but I drove him down there. And I promised his mother, and I remember at graduation, I said, I've told you, with all of the talents and the skills that he have. So when we think about framing the future and the impact educators have on students and the impact that he's had on me now, just to see the trajectory of where his life has gone, and now to see him back at the same school he graduated from as the Dean of Fine Arts does my heart so much good. And also, just to make that connection to Dr. Edna Varner, she is the woman who gave me my voice in the 6th grade. She is the one who taught me how to write, who taught me how to dream, who taught me how to believe in myself. So I thank you for that. And I'm so excited to welcome to the stage this single mother who I met 17 years ago at the Center for Creative Arts, who's going to share her story with you, as well as Vincent. They'll come up here and they will share their story with you. You all, let's give a very warm Habitat round of applause for Vanessa Spann and her son, Vincent Hale.